Good afternoon, everybody. My name is William Dalton. I just want a quick thank you to the Autonomous team for providing the opportunity for this startup track. I think it's a fantastic addition, and very happy to get an opportunity to speak today on this new addition to the event. My name is William Dalton. As I said, I'm the Vice President and Managing Director for VicOne in Europe and North America. And I've been with VicOne for about 3 years now, but our history, let me tell you a little bit about what we do. We've been in the cybersecurity business for 37 years with Trend Micro, who's our holding company. And in this time, from the advent of the internet right up until today, we've seen all the changes and all the precedent that we see now coming into software-defined vehicles. All those software-defined iterations have already happened in the ICT sector, with the software-defined WAN, storage, data center, et cetera, et cetera. We've also been at the forefront of implementing some of these technologies in the ICT space, which when you look at what's happening now with the combination of, I would say, traditional embedded software practices and the adoption of new technology with the SDV movement and also now AI, we're at the forefront of this space. A couple of things I just want to highlight, in particular, understanding who we are. We're a Japanese company. We've, on the back of research, started around the time of the GPAC. We started to invest in Trend Micro Car Solutions, and then we brought them to market and incorporated as a company, specifically focusing on automotive in May 2022, and we brought a series of products to market at that stage. And our focus is to differentiate from the holding company, who focus on enterprise security, consumer market, OT market, and AI market. And we're focusing on automotive. And that gives us three things to probably highlight. One is IP, the knowledge sharing. Second one is our talent pool. And the third one is financial stability, but also independence. And I think that's very key, especially managing the cyclical changes that we see in automotive, especially what we're experiencing right now. So that's a little bit of background of who we are. Very high level of what we do. We have a series of off-board and on-board solutions. That's all backed by our threat intelligence. One of the things on the previous slide I didn't mention is one of the elements of Trend Micro we take on board into our solutions is the Zero-Day Initiative. The Zero-Day Initiative is the largest group of ethical hackers that are exposing vulnerabilities. So we're the largest disclosure of public vulnerabilities in the industry. 67% of all vulnerabilities actually happen through Trend Micro. And that's a combination of all cybersecurity vendors combined. It's only 1/3. 2/3 is actually through Trend Micro. So, and specifically with our Point-to-One event, we did a dedicated automotive Point-to-One event in Tokyo for the last 2 years. We've identified 49 zero-day vulnerabilities in 3 days. And from that, you can infer a couple of understandings around the opportunity that it presents to hackers to take advantage. I'll talk a little bit about zero vulnerabilities a little bit later. But as I said, we have off-board systems and especially on-board. And I want to talk about our on-board a little bit in more detail later. However, this is also backed by AI. So whether that's improving the efficacy of our vehicle SOC system, whether that's protecting the in-cabin experience, specifically AI also needs to be protected. We also see lots of cases where prompt injection and lots of other attack patterns are now developing for AI specifically to take advantage of that. But also on board, right? So we've heard a lot today from various different people why it needs to be at the edge, why the inference needs to happen locally in the vehicle, not in the cloud. And our xCarbon product actually is embedded. And actually we have something, even in the short space of time that we've been incorporated, we have something like 1.5 million vehicles already planned to be deployed with our technology. So even though we're a startup, we're actually in the space a long time, and actually a startup in the automotive sense, but actually as a company and as a heritage and as a capability, actually been operating a long time. So I kind of want to, to think about one of the things we talk about. It's not if, but it's when. And we know there's three key elements that need to come together to make that happen. Number one is low technical barrier of entry. And we know that's the case. You go back to the ZDI case I mentioned, 49 zero-day vulnerabilities identified in 3 days. Highly motivated people with a clear motive to identify these opportunities. So low technical barrier already exists today. Second one is commercial opportunity. How to take advantage of that to turn that exploit or attack opportunity into a commercial situation. That's something is probably not as mature, but something I think will mature quite soon. And the third one is scalable business model. We know a lot of these attack actors, they're very strong, very mature practices in regards to how they run their business. And they run it as a business. So when those three things combine together, that's where you get that perfect storm. And then when you introduce an example where you have a zero-day exploit, where it's novel, it's never seen before, there is no Tara, there is no incident preparatory environment created for it. This is something that has not been seen before. So you need to imagine that this is not an if, it's actually a when. So imagine a threat intelligence alert. As you can see, and a tool is operating in the wild and designed to hack into the vehicles at scale. But while you're investigating, the attack spreads affecting more and more vehicles, time is running out. I can share a short story. In my background with Trend Micro, we obviously in the ICT space, I can remember 3 different examples where friends of mine who were CISOs, one particular example, he just started as a CISO 1 week into a high-tech company, and he got hit by a ransomware attack. His entire operations across Brazil, North America, Europe, all compromised. The whole company is shut down. It's probably the lowest point of his career. Really, when this happens, this is the point where everything goes south very quickly. Luckily, we were able to put the incident response team in and get his situation back and running. Second situation, another friend of mine in the government sector, compromised all the healthcare systems. So hospitals gone offline, affected patient mortality, very significant outcomes. Third example, university, again, a similar situation, cyber attack, not knowing what to do, not prepared, and needing to come in and mitigate very quickly. So this is real, this happens. And we talk about those 3 scenarios happening. This, again, this is a when, not an if. So, then bring it back to the point when we talk about having the protection in the vehicle, having the interference locally on the vehicle. What if the cars could protect themselves? And this is what we're focusing on in VicOne. So having our solution embedded on the vehicle that's trained based on lots of different attack scenarios, lots of different data points that can actually predict those outcomes and actually potentially take action. So we have a patent pending technology called Edge AI detection. And this really uses all those predefined attack scenarios to build those rules into the vehicle. We're using small language models and that really focus on a low compute aspect. We heard from various people today around the power consumption. So we also make sure that that's very low profile in regards to power consumption. And then having that in the vehicle also has huge benefits in regards to data transmission costs. So we talk about latency. I think the previous speaker also mentioned about latency, and I think Missy also mentioned earlier in her plenary session. So having that ability to make decisions in vehicle that are relevant for the vehicle, but then you might need fleet-wide decisions that need to be done on the cloud. Then that makes sense to send that data off-board and actually make fleet-wide decisions where your anomaly models are running at a fleet level. But if it's something specific for the vehicle, you want that real-time detection. You want to reduce the mean time to detection and also mean time to mitigation. So that's the focus of the solution in there. So again, some key benefits, reduce the dependence on the vehicle SOC. Keep the data within vehicle that's necessary for the decisions that need to be made in vehicle, and cut down on the cost and transmission off board, but also reduce your mean time to detection, mean time to mitigation. And one of the components we also bring to the table here is integration, very low integration effort and very low friction. So yeah, I think that wraps it up for me, and looking forward to meeting everybody, anybody has questions after the session. And if not, I hope everybody enjoys your lunch. Thank you very much.